I thought loyalty meant something. I thought sacrifice built bonds that couldn't break. But the day I saw my wife holding his hand, the man whose life I'd saved with my last dollar, I learned the truth. Some people don't betray you in spite of your goodness. They betray you because of it. Before we go further, welcome. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. If you've been rocking with us, you already know what we do. We tell stories that hit home, real emotion, real consequences. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if you're feeling this already, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to see how this ends. Now let's get into it. Ethan Carter wasn't the kind of man who asked for attention. He clocked in at 6 a.m. every morning at Sullivan Logistics, a regional warehouse just outside the city. Long shifts, tight deadlines, the kind of work that made your back ache and your hands rough. But he showed up every single day. Ethan believed in doing things right, keeping your word, standing by people when it mattered. His father had taught him that before he died, and Ethan carried it like a code. At home, things used to be simpler. Lauren Carter had been his high school sweetheart. Bright smile, sharp laugh, the kind of woman who made you feel lucky just being in the same room. They got married young, 23, and for a while, it felt like they were building something solid. A small apartment, shared meals, plans for the future. But somewhere along the way, the warmth faded. Lauren stopped asking how his day went, stopped touching his shoulder when she passed him in the kitchen. Ethan noticed, but he told himself it was just life. Just stress, just temporary. Marcus Reed had been in Ethan's life since college. Tall, charismatic, the kind of guy who could walk into a room and own it without trying. They'd been roommates, study partners, best men at each other's weddings. Marcus didn't have Ethan's discipline. He jumped from job to job, chased big ideas that never landed, borrowed money he swore he'd pay back. But Ethan never held it against him. That's what brothers did. They covered each other. When Marcus showed up at Ethan's door one evening, pale and sweating, clutching his side, Ethan didn't hesitate. He drove him straight to the ER. The diagnosis came fast and brutal. Acute appendicitis, complications, internal bleeding. Dr. Helen Morris, the surgeon on call, laid it out in the hallway outside the ER. "He needs surgery immediately," she said. Her voice was calm, clinical. "Without it, he won't make it through the night." Ethan's stomach dropped. "What's the cost?" Dr. Morris hesitated. "With his insurance, you're looking at around $32,000 out of pocket." The number hit like a punch. Marcus didn't have $32,000. He barely had $300. And Ethan had been saving for years, but it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. Marcus looked up from the hospital bed, his face gray, his voice weak. "I can't ask you to do this." Ethan sat down beside him. "You're not asking." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "I don't have the money, man. I don't—" Ethan cut him off. "I do." It was a lie. But it was the kind of lie that felt necessary. The kind you tell when someone's life is in your hands. Marcus grabbed Ethan's wrist. "I'll pay you back. I swear." Ethan nodded. He didn't believe him. But it didn't matter. The next morning, Ethan began dismantling his life. He emptied his savings account. Every dollar he'd saved for a house, for emergencies, for the future. $12,000. It wasn't enough. He sold his car, a 2015 Honda Civic he'd maintained like a child. $8,000. Still not enough. He walked into a credit union and took out a personal loan. High interest, 5-year repayment plan, $15,000. The woman behind the desk asked what it was for. "Medical emergency," Ethan said. She didn't ask whose. He walked out with a check and a weight in his chest that wouldn't lift. Lauren didn't say much when Ethan told her. They were sitting in the living room. The TV was on, but neither of them were watching. "I had to take out a loan," Ethan said quietly. Lauren looked up from her phone. "How much?" $15,000. Her expression didn't change. "For Marcus." It wasn't a question. Ethan nodded. Lauren set her phone down on the couch. She walked over and wrapped her arms around him from behind. Her chin rested on his shoulder. "You're a good man," she whispered. But her voice sounded hollow, like she was reading lines from a script she didn't believe in anymore. Ethan closed his eyes and leaned into her. He wanted to feel reassured, but all he felt was cold. The surgery was scheduled for Thursday morning. Ethan worked double shifts leading up to it. He needed the overtime pay, needed to start chipping away at the debt before it buried him. He left the house at 5 in the morning and didn't return until after midnight. Lauren was always asleep when he got home, or at least she pretended to be. Her breathing was too controlled, too even. One night, Ethan came home and found her phone face down on the kitchen counter. It buzzed, once, twice. He stared at it. His hand hovered over the screen, but he didn't pick it up. Trust, he told himself. You have to trust. Lauren started visiting Marcus at his apartment. "He's scared," she told Ethan one evening. "He needs someone to talk to." Ethan was folding laundry in the bedroom. "That's good of you," he said. Lauren smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I just want to help." She left an hour later with a container of soup she'd made. Ethan watched her drive away from the bedroom window. Something in his gut twisted, but he pushed it down. Marcus was like family. Lauren was just being kind. That's what good people did. They showed up for each other. The night before the surgery, Ethan couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Lauren was beside him, her back turned. The space between them felt like miles. Ethan reached out and touched her shoulder. "You awake?" No response. He pulled his hand back. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, a message from Marcus. "Thanks for everything, brother. I don't deserve you," Ethan typed back. "You'd do the same for me." But even as he hit send, he wondered if that was true. Thursday morning arrived like a sentencing. Ethan drove to the hospital alone. Lauren said she'd meet him there after her shift at the clinic where she worked as a receptionist. The waiting room was cold and sterile. White walls, gray chairs, the smell of antiseptic and fear. Ethan sat with his hands clasped between his knees. Marcus was wheeled past on a gurney. He looked small, vulnerable. He raised a weak hand toward Ethan. Ethan stood and walked beside him until the double doors. "See you on the other side," Marcus said. His voice cracked. Ethan squeezed his shoulder. "You'll be fine." The doors swung shut, and Ethan was alone. The surgery took 4 hours. Ethan paced, sat, stood, checked his phone. Lauren texted once. "Running late. Be there soon." That was 2 hours ago. Ethan didn't respond. He stared at the double doors and waited. Every time they opened, his heart jumped. But it was never the doctor. Just nurses, orderlies, other people's tragedies. Finally, at 2:47 p.m., Dr. Morris emerged. She pulled down her mask. Her face was tired but calm. "The surgery was successful." Ethan's knees almost buckled. "He's stable. We'll keep him under observation, but he's going to make it." Ethan exhaled. For the first time in weeks, he felt like he could breathe. Ethan walked toward the recovery wing. His legs felt light. His chest felt open. He was already thinking about what he'd say to Marcus, how they'd laugh about this someday, how Marcus would owe him for the rest of his life. But as Ethan turned the corner, he slowed. Through the glass door of Marcus's room, he saw movement. 2 figures, one lying in the bed, one sitting beside it. Ethan stepped closer. His hand touched the door handle, and then he froze, because the person sitting beside Marcus wasn't a nurse. It was Lauren. She was leaning forward. Her fingers were wrapped around Marcus's hand. Her other hand was touching his face. Marcus's eyes were half open. He was looking at her the way a man looks at someone he loves. Not like a friend, not like family. Ethan's hand fell from the door. His breath caught in his throat, and for a moment, The entire world went silent. I didn't move. Couldn't move. My brain was trying to make sense of what my eyes were seeing, trying to find an innocent explanation. But there was none. The way her thumb brushed across his knuckles. The way his weak smile reached for her like she was oxygen. The way they existed in that room like I didn't exist at all. That's when I understood. Betrayal doesn't announce itself. It just sits there, waiting for you to finally see it. Ethan sat in his car for 20 minutes. He didn't start the engine, didn't cry, didn't scream. He just stared at the steering wheel. His phone buzzed. Lauren. Where are you? I'm at the hospital. Marcus is awake. He read it twice. Then he turned his phone off. He started the car, drove home. The apartment felt different when he walked in, like it belonged to someone else, like he was a ghost visiting his own life. He went to the bedroom and pulled a duffel bag from the closet, started packing, clothes, toiletries, nothing sentimental, nothing that would make him stop and think. Ethan sat in his car for 20 minutes. He didn't start the engine, didn't cry, didn't scream. He just stared at the steering wheel. His phone buzzed. Lauren. Where are you? I'm at the hospital. Marcus is awake. He read it twice. Then he turned his phone off. He started the car, drove home. The apartment felt different when he walked in, like it belonged to someone else, like he was a ghost visiting his own life. He went to the bedroom and pulled a duffel bag from the closet, started packing, clothes, toiletries, nothing sentimental, nothing that would make him stop and think. His phone started ringing. Lauren. He declined the call. It rang again. Declined. A text came through. Ethan, where did you go? Marcus is asking for you. He almost laughed. Marcus was asking for him. After everything. After Ethan had bled himself dry. After sacrificing his savings, his car, his future. Marcus was asking for him. Another text. Please call me, I'm worried. Ethan set the phone face down on the dresser. He zipped the duffel bag and walked out. Ethan checked into a motel on the edge of town. $40 a night. Thin walls. A window that didn't close all the way. He sat on the bed and stared at the wall. His mind kept replaying it. Lauren's hand in Marcus's, the tenderness in her eyes, the way Marcus looked at her like she was the only thing keeping him alive. Maybe she was. Maybe that's what Ethan had paid for. Not a surgery, a love story. His phone was still off. He didn't want to hear her voice, didn't want to hear the excuses. The lies wrapped in concern. He lay back on the bed and closed his eyes. Sleep didn't come. The next morning, Ethan went to work. He clocked in at 6 a.m. like always. His supervisor, Derek, looked at him twice. You good, Carter? Ethan nodded. Yeah. You look like hell. I'm fine. He wasn't. But work was the only thing that made sense. Lift, stack, move, repeat. No feelings, no thoughts, just motion. At lunch, he sat alone in his truck. His phone was still off. He ate a sandwich he didn't taste, stared at the warehouse across the lot, wondered how long he could keep this up. By Friday evening, Lauren had called 37 times. Ethan knew because he finally turned his phone back on. There were texts, too. Please come home. We need to talk. You're scaring me. Ethan, please. He deleted them without reading past the first line. Then he blocked her number. He sat in the motel room and opened his laptop, searched for divorce lawyers, found one with decent reviews, sent an inquiry email. Subject, uncontested divorce. He closed the laptop, lay back on the bed, and finally, for the first time since Thursday, he cried. Not loud, not violent, just quiet. Exhausting tears that came from somewhere deep. Saturday morning, Ethan received an email from Marcus. Subject, I'm sorry. He stared at it for a full minute. Then he opened it. Ethan, I don't know what to say. I know you saw us. Lauren told me you left. Man, I never meant for this to happen. I was in a bad place and she was there and things just... I don't know, I'm sorry. I owe you everything. Please let me explain. Ethan read it twice, then he deleted it. blocked Marcus's email, blocked his number, erased him. Not out of anger, out of necessity. Because if he let Marcus explain, he'd forgive him. And forgiveness wasn't what Marcus deserved. On Monday, Ethan met with the lawyer. Her name was Janet Holder. Mid-50s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense tone. She sat across from him in a small office that smelled like old coffee. "How long have you been married?" 8 years. "Any children?" "No." "Assets?" "We rent. I sold my car. She has hers. Joint account with about $200 in it." Janet made notes. "Grounds for divorce?" Ethan hesitated. "Adultery." Janet looked up. "Can you prove it?" Ethan thought about the hospital room, the hands, the look. Not in a way that would hold up in court. Janet nodded. "Then we go uncontested. Clean break. You file, she signs. It's done in 90 days. Ethan signed the paperwork. His hand didn't shake. The papers were served to Lauren on Wednesday. Ethan wasn't there. He'd requested they be delivered to the apartment while he was at work. That evening, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Ethan." It was Lauren. Her voice was raw. "You're really doing this?" "Yes." "We can fix this. Please, just talk to me." "There's nothing to fix." "Ethan, I made a mistake. Stop." Silence. "You don't get to call it a mistake," Ethan said quietly. "You made a choice. Every time you went to see him, every time you lied, every time you touched him." Lauren sobbed on the other end. "I love you." "No, you don't." He hung up, blocked the number, sat down on the motel bed, and felt nothing. Ethan moved into a studio apartment 2 weeks later. It was small but clean. 1 room, a kitchenette, a bathroom with a shower that worked. That was enough. He bought a mattress, a table, 2 chairs. Nothing else, no pictures, no decorations, nothing that reminded him of before. The first night in the new place, he cooked pasta, ate it standing at the counter, washed the single plate, sat on the mattress and stared at the bare walls. It should have felt empty. But it didn't. It felt clean. Like he'd finally stopped carrying weight that wasn't his. Work became Ethan's anchor. He arrived early, left late, volunteered for every overtime shift. Derek noticed. "You trying to buy the place, Carter?" Ethan shrugged. "Just need the hours." "You doing okay?" "Yeah." Derek didn't push, but he started assigning Ethan to solo shifts, inventory checks, late-night loading docks, the kind of work where you didn't have to talk to anyone. Ethan appreciated it. Words felt expensive now. Every conversation required energy he didn't have. Silence was easier. Lauren tried to reach him through mutual friends. First, it was Sarah, a woman they'd known from church. She called Ethan one evening. "She's a mess, Ethan. She won't eat, won't sleep." "That's not my problem. She made a mistake. People make mistakes." "Some mistakes end things," Sarah sighed. "You're being cruel." "No," Ethan said calmly. "I'm being done." He hung up. Then came Jordan, one of Marcus's old college buddies. "Man, Marcus is tore up. He wants to talk to you." "Tell him I'm not interested." "He's your brother, Ethan." "Not anymore." Jordan tried to argue. Ethan ended the call. After that, he stopped answering numbers he didn't recognize. The divorce was finalized in late November, 93 days after he filed. Ethan signed the final papers in Janet's office. Lauren had signed hers a week earlier. She didn't contest anything, didn't ask for anything, just signed and disappeared. Janet slid the decree across the desk. "It's done." Ethan stared at the document, 8 years reduced to 3 pages. "You okay?" Janet asked. "Yeah." "You don't look okay." Ethan folded the papers and stood. "I will be." He walked out into the cold afternoon air, got in his truck, one he'd bought used for $3,000, drove to a park and sat on a bench, watched people walk dogs, push strollers, hold hands, and felt absolutely nothing. December came quietly. Ethan started going to the gym. 5 a.m., 3 days a week, then 5 days, then every day. He needed the burn, the exhaustion, something to replace the thoughts. He ran until his lungs screamed, lifted until his muscles shook. Went home, showered, ate, slept. Repeat. People at the gym started to recognize him. A few nodded. He nodded back. No conversations, just acknowledgement. By mid-December, he'd lost 15 pounds, not from sadness, from discipline. His face looked sharper, his eyes looked clearer. He was becoming someone new, someone lighter. One evening in January, Ethan ran into an old co-worker at a coffee shop. Her name was Vanessa. She'd left the warehouse 2 years ago to work in accounting. Ethan, oh my God, I almost didn't recognize you. He turned. Hey, Vanessa, you look different. Good different. Thanks. She smiled. You want to sit? Catch up? Ethan hesitated, then nodded. They sat by the window, talked about work, life, nothing heavy. She didn't ask about Lauren, didn't pry, just talked like a person who didn't need anything from him. When they finished their coffee, Vanessa stood. It was good seeing you. You too. She paused. You seem steady. I don't know, just solid. Ethan smiled for the first time in months. I'm working on it. February brought closure in an unexpected way. Ethan was leaving the warehouse after a late shift when he saw a familiar car in the parking lot, Lauren's silver sedan. She was leaning against it, thinner than he remembered, her hair pulled back, eyes tired. She straightened when she saw him. Ethan. He stopped 10 feet away. What are you doing here? I needed to see you. We're divorced, Lauren. There's nothing left to see. She flinched. I know, I'm sorry, I need you to know that. Ethan looked at her, really looked at her, and realized he didn't feel anger anymore, didn't feel hurt, didn't feel anything. I'm not here for forgiveness, Lauren said. Her voice shook. I just wanted you to know that what I did, it wasn't about you. You were good to me. You were good to everyone. Ethan didn't respond. Marcus and I, it didn't work out. We tried, after you left, but it fell apart. Turns out guilt isn't a good foundation. She laughed bitterly. I lost the best man I ever had because I didn't know what I had. Ethan shifted his weight. I hope you figure it out, Lauren. She blinked. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. Ethan stepped forward. Not close. Just enough. You made your choice. I made mine. We're done. He walked past her, got in his truck, drove away. In the rearview mirror, he saw her standing there, watching him leave. But he didn't stop, didn't look back. Spring arrived like a reset. Ethan had been promoted to shift supervisor at the warehouse, more responsibility, better pay. Derek had pulled him aside in March. You've been killing it, Carter. Consistent, reliable. The team respects you. Ethan nodded. Just doing the job. No, you're doing more than that. I'm recommending you for supervisor. Interested? Ethan didn't hesitate. Yes. The promotion came with a raise, enough to start paying down the loan faster, enough to move into a better apartment. But Ethan stayed in the studio. He liked the simplicity, the lack of excess. Everything he owned fit in one room. Everything he needed fit in his head. Ethan started attending a financial planning workshop on Tuesday nights. It was held at the community center, 12 people, a mix of ages. The instructor, Mr. Gerald Poole, was a retired accountant who spoke in clear, practical terms. Debt isn't failure, he said during the first session. It's a challenge, and challenges can be solved with discipline. Ethan took notes, created a budget, tracked every dollar, cut out everything unnecessary, no subscriptions, no eating out, no wasted spending. By May, he'd paid off $4,000 of the loan. By July, another $3,000. The number was shrinking. Slowly, but it was shrinking. One Saturday in June, Ethan ran into Vanessa again. At the farmer's market downtown, she was buying tomatoes. He was buying coffee beans. "Ethan," she waved. He walked over. "Hey, I keep running into you," she said with a smile. "Small town." "True. You doing okay?" "Yeah, better." They walked together through the market, talked about nothing important. The weather, the produce, a new restaurant opening on 5th Street. At the end of the row, Vanessa stopped. "You want to grab lunch sometime?" Ethan paused. Like lunch, 2 people, food, conversation. She wasn't flirting, just asking. Ethan smiled. "Yeah, I'd like that." They met the following Wednesday at a small diner near the warehouse. Nothing fancy, burgers and fries. Vanessa talked about her job, the chaos of tax season, the coworker who microwaved fish in the break room. Ethan laughed. Actually laughed. It felt strange at first, like using a muscle he'd forgotten existed. "You're different from before," Vanessa said. "How?" "I don't know. Calmer, like you're not carrying as much." Ethan nodded. "I'm not." She didn't push for details, just smiled and stole one of his fries. When lunch ended, they walked to the parking lot together. "We should do this again," Vanessa said. "Yeah, we should." By August, Ethan and Vanessa were seeing each other regularly. Nothing official, no labels, just 2 people who enjoyed each other's company. They went to movies, walked through parks, sat on her apartment balcony, and talked until midnight. Vanessa never asked about his past, never pressed him to open up before he was ready. One evening, sitting on that balcony, Ethan told her, not everything, but enough. "I was married," he said. "She had an affair with my best friend. I paid for his surgery, sold everything I had. Then I found out." Vanessa listened without interrupting. When he finished, she reached over and squeezed his hand. "I'm sorry that happened to you." "I'm not," Ethan said quietly. "Not anymore. Take a minute and subscribe if you're still with us. We're almost at the end and you won't want to miss this." September brought an unexpected encounter. Ethan was at a gas station filling his truck when he saw him. Marcus, standing by the air pump. He looked worse than Ethan remembered, gaunt, tired. His clothes hung loose. Their eyes met across the lot. Marcus froze. Ethan didn't. He finished pumping gas, replaced the nozzle, and walked toward the store to pay. Marcus stepped into his path. "Ethan, wait." Ethan stopped. "Move. Please, just let me say something." Ethan crossed his arms. "You've got 30 seconds. Marcus swallowed hard. "I know I don't deserve your time. I know what I did was unforgivable." Ethan said nothing. I wanted you to know I've been living with it every day. The guilt, the shame. I ruined everything." "You did." Marcus flinched. "Lauren left me 3 months after you filed. Said she couldn't look at me without hating herself. I lost my job, my apartment. I've been crashing with my cousin." Ethan's expression didn't change. "I'm sorry," Marcus said. His voice cracked. "I'm so sorry, man." Ethan stared at him. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. "I forgive you." Marcus's eyes widened. "What?" "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I'm done carrying it." Ethan stepped around him. "Take care of yourself, Marcus." He walked into the store, left Marcus standing there. October marked 1 year since the surgery. 1 year since everything shattered. Ethan took the day off work, drove out to a lake an hour outside town, sat on the hood of his truck and watched the water. The loan was almost paid off. $600 left. He'd built a life he was proud of, a job he respected, a woman who made him laugh, a mind that was finally quiet. He pulled out his phone and looked at a photo Vanessa had sent that morning. Her holding 2 coffee cups with a message, "Thinking of you." Ethan smiled, typed back, "Thinking of you too." He set the phone down, leaned back against the windshield. and for the first time in a year, he felt whole. November brought the first snow. Ethan stood outside the warehouse watching it fall, soft flakes catching the streetlights. His shift had just ended. He checked his phone. A text from Vanessa. "Dinner at my place tonight? I'm making lasagna." He smiled. Typed back, "I'll bring wine." Derek walked out behind him. "Heading out, Carter?" "Yeah." Derek looked at him. "You seem good, really good." Ethan nodded. "I am. Whatever you did this past year, keep doing it." Ethan shook his hand. "Plan to." He got in his truck and drove toward Vanessa's apartment. The snow was getting heavier, but the roads were clear. Everything felt clear. Dinner with Vanessa was easy. It always was. They ate at her small kitchen table, talked about her day at work, his plans for the weekend. Nothing heavy, nothing forced. After dinner, they sat on the couch. Vanessa leaned against him. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you ever regret it? Helping him?" Ethan thought about it, really thought about it. "No." "Even after everything?" "Yeah, because I didn't do it for him. I did it because that's who I am, and I'm not going to let what they did change that." Vanessa looked up at him. "You're a better person than most." "I'm just me." She kissed his cheek. That's enough. December came fast. Ethan made the final payment on the loan. He sat in his studio apartment with his laptop open, entered the last $600, clicked confirm. The screen updated. Balance, $0. He stared at it, then closed the laptop, stood up, walked to the window. The city stretched out below him, lights flickering in the cold. He'd done it, paid for a betrayal he didn't deserve, rebuilt a life from nothing, and came out stronger. He pulled out his phone, called Vanessa. "Hey, you busy?" "Never too busy for you. What's up?" "I just paid off the loan." Silence. Then her voice, warm and bright. "Ethan, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you." "Thanks. Let's celebrate. Tomorrow. Anywhere you want." Ethan smiled. Anywhere sounds perfect. Christmas Eve. Ethan spent it with Vanessa and her family, her parents, her younger brother. They welcomed him like he'd always been there. No questions about his past, no judgment, just warmth. Her mother hugged him when he arrived. "Vanessa's told us so much about you. All good things, I hope. The best things." They ate dinner together, ham and mashed potatoes, pies for dessert. Vanessa's father asked about his work. Her brother challenged him to a card game. Ethan won. Barely. Later, sitting by the Christmas tree with Vanessa, she leaned her head on his shoulder. "Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. I mean it. You fit." Ethan squeezed her hand. "So do you." New Year's Eve arrived quiet and steady. Ethan and Vanessa went to a small rooftop party hosted by one of her co-workers. Nothing wild, just good people, good music. At midnight, the city erupted in noise, fireworks, car horns, cheers from every direction. Vanessa turned to Ethan. "New year, fresh start. Best kind." She kissed him, not desperately, not hungrily, just honestly. When they pulled apart, she smiled. "I'm glad you're here." "Me too." They stood together on the rooftop watching the city celebrate. And Ethan realized something. He wasn't running from the past anymore. He wasn't haunted by it. He'd simply moved beyond it. January arrived cold and clear. Ethan was walking downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Running errands, picking up groceries, he turned the corner near the post office. And there they were, Lauren and Marcus, together, walking toward him on the same sidewalk. They saw him at the same time he saw them. All three stopped. Lauren looked thinner, pale. Marcus looked the same, broken. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Lauren's eyes dropped. Marcus shifted his weight. Ethan didn't flinch, didn't tense. He just looked at them. Two people who used to matter, now strangers. Lauren opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. Marcus put his hand on her back, a gesture that once would have destroyed Ethan. Now it meant nothing. Ethan nodded once, not in greeting, not in forgiveness, just acknowledgement. Then he stepped to the side and walked past them. He didn't look back, didn't wonder what they thought, didn't care. He continued down the street, into the grocery store, bought what he needed, drove home, texted Vanessa. "Ran into them today." She replied immediately. "You okay?" "Yeah, completely." "Good. Come over later?" "On my way." I used to think betrayal would break me, that losing everything meant I'd lost myself. But I learned something. The people who hurt you don't get to define you. They don't get to steal your peace. They don't get to live in your head rent-free. I chose to rebuild, not for revenge, not to prove anything, but because I deserved better. And the moment I stopped waiting for them to realize what they lost, that's when I realized what I'd gained. My dignity, my strength, my future. 3 months later, Ethan sat in Vanessa's apartment. She was cooking breakfast. He was reading the news on his phone. "Coffee?" she asked. "Please." She poured 2 cups, set one in front of him, kissed the top of his head. "What are you thinking about?" Ethan looked up. "Nothing. Good nothing or bad nothing. Good nothing." She smiled. "That's my favorite kind." They sat together in the morning light. No drama, no chaos, no ghosts. Just 2 people building something real, something honest, something that didn't need to be saved from itself. And Ethan realized this was the reward. Not revenge, not vindication, just peace. Some people think revenge is confrontation, standing over the people who wronged you, watching them suffer. But that's not revenge. That's just pain doubled. Real revenge is silence. It's walking away and never looking back. It's becoming so unbothered, so unreachable, so whole, that the people who thought your loyalty made you weak realize they lost the best thing they ever had. And by the time they figure it out, you're already gone, already happy, already free. That's the strongest revenge, becoming untouchable. If this story hit you the way it hit me, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and tell me what you thought. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because some stories aren't just entertainment. They're reminders that you can survive anything, that betrayal doesn't get the final word, that you do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.